Johnson, Jimmy Horton right there, ready to do battle as we're set to restart at the Moody Mile. Now the cars that were running behind Laubach also decided to pit under that caution, and that shuffles Danny Johnson to the lead now.
Everybody recycles around, and how about Jimmy Horton, Rick? Started in 29th position, up to position number 2, and has put himself in prime spot for a chance to win this Eckerd 200.
71 laps to go today at the New York State Fairgrounds. The 35th running of the Eckerd 200, almost $250,000 up for these dirt big block modified stars. And Danny Johnson would love nothing more than to carry that $100,000 check home today when he leaves Syracuse. And he is opening up the lead for second spot. Jimmy Phelps putting pressure on Horton.
Phelps has been quick all Super Dirt Week. He won one of the Triple 20 qualifying events. He time trialed third fastest a Super Dirt Week for Jimmy Phelps.
Been outstanding for that H&H team. Danny Johnson out in front. Donnie Corellis and Alan Johnson run 5th and 6th now, with 70 miles of racing yet to come here at the New York State Fairgrounds. And the doctor says, I like it when they battle behind me, and lets him open up more of a lead now.
And those cautions do help Danny Johnson conserve on some fuel and his tires. We talked earlier about these cars going anywhere from 113 to 117 laps on a tank of fuel, but that's including caution laps. We never see a full 117 green flag laps here on the mile.
Meantime, Jimmy Horton's got his hands full on that 42 car. Right behind him is Phelps, more of a young gun, you might say. Frank Cozy in the 44. He's been at this game a long time as well. The Cozy family, they've fielded cars since the 60s. Big-time Superman Shepherd back to 24th as he tries to cycle his way back into contention.
Stopped on lap 112 and has since dropped back a few positions as the 44, no stranger to the mile as well. He's won the 358 race here. He also won the Sportsman event.
Shepherd and Ryan go down, running nose to tail. As we watch that battle form down into turn number 3.
Interesting top 4 here with Danny Johnson and Jimmy Horton. Both of them have won here on the mile. Jimmy Phelps making a statement run here today, has never won on the mile. Frank Cozy back there in 4th came so close back in 1989, 10 laps from the end. That was the race Alan Johnson won. Cozy was leading. He got into a wreck that year with Danny Johnson. Took them both out of the race.
Danny Johnson is still your leader. 2nd spot still belongs to Horton. 3rd is Phelps. 4th is Cozy. Next group of traffic back behind about 12 to 15 car lengths. There's Eddie Marshall in the 98. Pat Ward in the 42P and his teammate Billy Decker in the 91. Let's get on board here with Decker.
And we'll look out at the number 19 of Tim Fuller, the pole sitter. Fuller having to work his way back up through this pack as well. But you see who's in front of him? That number 19, ageless veteran, Kenny Brightbill. We talked so much about Jack Johnson. How about Kenny Brightbill, a winner in this event as well?
One of my favorite guys out of Sinking Springs, Pennsylvania. You know, he and Jack Johnson together have accounted for more than 1,000 feature victories in modified competition.
Listen to Decker just roll that car ever so smoothly through the corners, conserving gas and tire wear. That's why Billy Decker is a master on this mile.
Decker knows he's got plenty of time. More than 60 laps to go. Needs to get around Pat Ward. Decker knows he can more or less let this race come to him. See if the cards fall right. He could find himself in the top 3 or 4 with a shot at victory late in the race. That's all he wants.
Different pit strategy this year for Billy Decker. Now he is starting to push that car a little bit more to get up to the front of this field.
There's that Tabloid Graphics 19 of Brightbill out of Pennsylvania. Runs 11th. 12th is Jack Johnson in the 12A. Great to see guys like that still twisting the wheel.
Jumping Jack getting on the hammer heavy through turns number 4 that time. Did you see that right rear tire smoke up? And Decker just got around Ward.
Decker using the high side. Says, I'll see you later to his teammate. He is trying to head to the front. Up to 13th now. But Johnson and Brightbill will not be easy marks here at Syracuse.
Fuller just got by the
Oh, trouble. Jimmy Phelps has got a problem in that 98.
Looks like a tire shredded.
Sure does. Right rear is down. And it's our 7th caution here with 60 to go. Phelps has got to be careful. He could tear up the bodywork if he doesn't slow down enough.
Listen, you got to come in the next time around. Try staying with the field if you can.
They don't want him to give up track position.
That was the voice of crew chief Randy Kosacki. That's one of the things that he brings to this team, a calmness to the driver talking to him. And you see Jimmy Phelps, that tire goes down, almost got the wall. Oh, boy, he just brushed it with the right front.
When the right rear goes down on you in the middle of a corner here at Syracuse, there's not much you can do except get out of the gas and hang on. Phelps did a nice job to avoid a hard impact into the concrete. So Danny Johnson says this is great. He needs caution laps to be able to make his strategy work today at the New York State Fairgrounds. 59 to go. We'll be back. We welcome you back to the New York State Fairgrounds alongside Shane Andrews, I'm Rick Benjamin, Andy Fusco, and Mark Kenyon on pit road for us. Coverage of the 35th Eckerd 200. Danny Johnson leads us back to green. 57 miles to go to settle things here today.
The doctor got a great restart. He opened up a quick 8-car length advantage over the 42 of Jimmy Horton.
One car a little bit high, but stays off the wall. Danny Johnson continues to lead. Horton runs second with 56 to go. That spot belongs to Cozy in the 44.
As we get closer to the end of this race, Rick, now is the time where you have to start hitting your marks on a consistent basis. You don't want to be out of that groove. If you get up in the cinders and in the marbles, your day is over because you'll hit the wall.
We're getting down to that point in the race as well where track position will be key. If you need to stop again, you need to be very careful about when you decide to do it. One car in trouble. That's the X machine of Chad Phelps. Looks as though he may have a tire down.
Chad Phelps, it looks like a right front flat. He is a rookie in this race, his first start in the Eckerd 200.
And he will get to pit road. We will not go to yellow, and we'll continue with the green displayed for Danny Johnson, who stretches that lead now over Jimmy Horton. I don't think Horton's got enough speed in that 42 car to track down the doctor.
I wonder if it's a little cat and mouse game going on. He knows that there's a little less than 50 laps remaining. He's just biding his time. Maybe he thinks that Danny Johnson doesn't have enough gas to go the distance.
Could be. As we watch Jack Johnson in the 12A, there's Decker in the 91. In 11th spot, starting to come to life a little bit here. Decker knows if he's going to have a shot at his 5th Eckerd 200 victory, he can't wait around much longer. And Chad Brockman in trouble. Caution again on lap 147. Brockman has popped the wall in the 3 car.
You can see the damage on the right rear of the car. Notice the rim has been on the number 3.
Well, Brockman had a great day earlier in Super Dirt Week in the 358 modified event. His day here will not be nearly as successful. Chad Brockman will have to come to pit road in the Pizza Logs entry. Under caution, 53 to go. Danny Johnson is still the leader. We'll be back. Back in Syracuse, getting set for a restart at the Eckerd 200. Now, Alan Johnson is the Mr. Dirt Series point leader, Mark Kenyon. He's in contention now.
Down here in the Alan Johnson pit, you guys, we have you stopping at lap 86. You say 87. You're in the midst of a point battle here, plus you're trying to win this race. Is that, you guys a little concerned?
We're trying to win the race.
To heck with the points.
Oh, I'm not saying that. We're trying to win the race. We're just going to see what plays out here in the end.
They're going all the way. Alan Johnson, always the warrior, trying to win this race, and in the midst of a point battle, could be another Mr. Dirt.
Essentially, Alan can clinch his 5th Mr. Dirt championship here today by finishing ahead of Billy Decker. AJ won his first Mr. Dirt championship in 1981. 25 years later, he would have his 5th title.
One of the things that makes this just such an entertaining form of racing, you've got young guns and you've got veterans who've been doing this for 30-plus years, and Alan Johnson, certainly one of the great stars of Super Dirt Weekend of Dirt Motorsports. 50 to go at Syracuse. We're back underway. His brother Danny continues to show the way. What a late season run the doctor has had in those 27J machines, both the small block and the big block. But he's got a passel of fast race cars right behind him here.
Incredible last couple of weeks. Danny Johnson won the Victoria 200 at the Fulton Speedway, won the 358 modified race during Super Dirt Week this year. Both of those races paid $20,000. 40 grand Dan so far. Can he add an extra 100,000 to his paycheck?
Somehow I think he'd find room in the hauler to call that check back home after the festivities are over here today if he can close the deal on the Moody Mile. But he's got guys nipping at his heels, including Frank Cozy in the 44 and Alan Johnson in that 4. Oh, the 21 car gets sideways.
Wow, Donnie Corellis hung that out to dry. He could see the taillights on the back bumper. That rear end was that far around.
Richie Tobias in the USA 1, who was so fast earlier, nearly collected Corellis as they came off of turn 2. And I'm wondering, does Corellis have something broken in that race car?
Tobias had to get on the binders, and that allows everybody in front of them to open up an advantage right now, so that costs Tobias and everybody else, including Billy Decker, a little bit of ground on the speedway.
We've talked about Decker a lot today in the Gypsum Express. Car number 91, there's Eddie Marshall out of Richfield, Connecticut in the Marshall Oil entry. Very strong in the top 10. Corellis still battling, still fighting that 21. He's got a problem. Tobias gets by. Decker couldn't get by him on the backstretch. He'll try to get around here in turn 4. Meantime, trouble for the other 21 car. This is Jeff Trombley's machine. The left rear wheels come off that car. Caution waves on lap 153. It's our 9th yellow of the afternoon.
A tough break for Jeff Trombley. He was running 5th, being challenged by the 88 of J.R. Hefner when the wheels came out from underneath him.
And that wheel at speed down the front straightaway here. It's going to be up against the fence. Now here's one more look out of turn 4.
When they came in through the corner, the left rear tire comes right off the 21 of Jeff Trombley. He shoots down to the inside, but the wheel goes to the top side out into the racing surface.
Trombley certainly had his hands full. Couple of more looks here.
As that wheel comes back down into the racing groove, watch Wayne Jelly clips the tire and puts it right back in front of everybody as the field comes by.
Bobby Varon threw the one car sideways to avoid that tire. Now, you might think that's kind of funny, but if you've ever been around one of those things, they weigh a couple of 100 pounds, and that tire's probably going, what, 60, 70 miles an hour?
Easily, and it sent everybody in the pit area scrambling for cover. Fortunately, nobody got hurt.
So the 21 of Jeff Trombley stops against the wall, and Danny Johnson says that'll be just fine because more caution laps will help him get home here today. The crew's starting to wonder. We'll be back at Syracuse. Less than 20 laps remain to settle things in the Eckerd 200 at the New York State Fairgrounds, and Jimmy Horton may have a shot today. How about it, Andy Fusco?
A week ago, this wasn't even a team, Herb.
Well, we had the team, but we didn't have the car yet. We decided early in September to come. There was some decision whether we were going to come or not. We didn't get the car till like Wednesday or Thursday, and then going to bed 2 o'clock every night for a couple of nights. Put the car together. Jimmy had it ready by Sunday, and just little things going on Monday and Tuesday, and brought it to the track. So we've been working hard on it. The guys on the team are all been with him a long time, either friends or former racers or fellow racers. So we're doing pretty good, and he's calling the race from the car. So we got a good guy in the seat, and a good guy calling things too.
Now, I assume the number 42 has some significance here.
Well, it does and it doesn't. Really, Jimmy's number is 43, but when his son started racing, he thought, well, let me turn that over to him. And so he took the next best number, the 42. That's how it was. And, of course, Ricky Grasso, our car owner, has 24, so it's just the opposite.
A nice story that came together for Jimmy Horton this week. Jack Johnson, looks like that right rear tire that they had on wasn't going to go the distance.
So they bring the 12A to pit road. That'll end Jack's bid for victory here at age 62. Still won a couple of big block races, at Fonda, which has been his playground for a long time this year.
The all-time leading feature winner at the Fonda Speedway, over 150 victories. He also has a record here in Dirt Motorsports, 6-time Mr. Dirt champion.
It's been an unbelievable career. Johnson will line up 22nd for the restart. Danny Johnson's got this one under control. 17 to go. We're back underway, and we'll see if anybody like Billy. Oh, they're 4 wide down into turn 1. Who's that on the high side trying to make up some ground there?
Jimmy Phelps in the 98H. That car has been fast all week long, looking to get around Eddie Marshall on the top side. And a little contact with Marshall as they race with Pat Ward.
Pat Ward in the 42P started up front here today. He and Marshall get by. And Matt Shepard in the mix as well here as the laps wind down. There'll be 15 to go very shortly here at Syracuse. Shepard trying to find his way back into contention. Danny Johnson looks as though he's got this thing pretty well in hand. We'll see if Jimmy Horton has anything for him as Phelps just whistles by those cars on the high side.
Phelps working a different line down into corner number 1 and 2, trying to make up some ground. He still has a lot of good cars ahead of him, though, if he wants to get up there and run with the doctor.
Running order top left of your screen. Donnie Corellis is 9th behind Tim Fuller. Billy Decker shown 7th. Phelps up to 11th last time around with Eddie Marshall in 12th position. Richie Tobias in that USA 1 meantime in the top 5. Now he's the first of the cars that pitted just before the 100-lap mark. He could end up in great shape here.
If the cars are in front of him, including this driver, Danny Johnson, who pitted on lap 84, have problems, he's put himself in a prime position to win.
But Johnson able to run all by himself out in front in clean air. He's got almost a 2-second lead now over Jimmy Horton.